when people are in a tough situation or when they're in unfamiliar territory, they don't want to be manipulated, but they do want to be led by someone who is trusted. They want to be led, and they want to be told by a professional what they should do. You want to sit with somebody at the end, and when they tell you this is what's going to be best for you, based on everything we've discovered today and how you feel about your family and what you're trying to accomplish, here are a couple of good options for you. And there might be 3 of them. My recommendation is going to be this one, and for this reason, and it's going to do this for this person at only this price.
Welcome back to another episode of the Life Insurance Academy podcast. Today, I'm here with Mr. Roger Short.
What's up?
And today's no quotes given. We don't give a quote, all right?
We don't give a quote?
We don't give a quote. It's not happening. We don't care. We're not going to do it.
Quotes.
Today, we're talking about quotes.
Quotes.
We're going to try to say the word quotes as many times as we can so you never say the word quotes.
Quotes.
But
people are going to get off this podcast and they're going to be walking around thinking quotes. Well,
I don't give a quote.
I don't give a quote.
Because
I don't give a quote. Adam, do you give a quote?
Adam doesn't give a quote.
You don't give quotes?
No.
You don't give a quote, or you don't give quotes, right?
Perfect. And the reason we want to talk about quotes, guys, is recently in some of our Life Insurance Academy Telesales BootCamps that we've had, this has became a new trend that we're hearing with brand new agents. And some of them are getting on the phone. Some of them are in the sales process. They're learning a script. They're going through it. By the way, nowhere in our script does it say, hey, do you want any quotes? It does not say that.
No.
But one common trend that mistakes that typically pops up with clients is, hey, can you just send me some quotes? Or I was just looking for some quotes. Can you go ahead and email me those quotes? Right? And what does a brand new agent do, Roger?
Well, oftentimes they might not even say quotes. They might say, can you send me some prices? Or they may not use the word specific quotes, but they're pushing because they're just trying to get you off the phone and they want to get a price.
Yep.
And I think it's a tough situation when an agent gets trapped into that early. And we hear it too often. I don't even know where it's come from. I don't know if they've heard it somewhere from another agent sitting next to them who doesn't know what they're doing. And now you got 2 people teaching, you got the blind leading the blind.
Yeah.
But man, this idea of quotes, Zach, did I ever teach you to say the word quotes when we first started?
No, and in fact, I've been doing this for 10 years, and in any of my sits, whether they're face-to-face or over the phone, the word quotes has never came up. It's never been a topic of discussion. There has been people that have wanted prices.
Yeah.
They've wanted prices early on. They've wanted prices, but that was due to me not maintaining control of the situation and the temperature of the client to make the necessary adjustments to move forward.
Yeah.
But no, the quotes is it's something that we want to avoid. You know why? Nobody in this world buys quotes.
They never buy quotes.
I don't care what it is. Quotes are something that you collect, like baseball cards, basketball cards. Yeah. You just look at them. You put them on your table. You put them on your end table next to your medications. It's something that it's nice to have, and you almost want to brag, like, Hey, man, check out these quotes I got today, Roger.
I got some quotes.
Can you get lower quotes than these quotes?
Yeah, they're shopping your quotes with other quotes.
I haven't moved forward on them, but I got them. It's almost like a game to them. Like, how low can they get it? Mm-hmm. And quotes promote more searching. It promotes more kicking the can down the road to where they can just want to continue to collect more quotes.
Because they feel good about themselves that they're in the process of hunting for a plan, but they think the thing that is the most important part of that is the price.
100%.
When in fact that's not the most important thing.
No.
I think new agents get these a lot, the requests a lot at the front end of the call.
Yep.
Especially in that first 60 seconds. What got you thinking about some filings? Well, I was looking for some pricing. Can you give me some quotes and email them to me? Or like very short, very early on in a lot of people's calls, especially the ones that we hear in our boot camps, we're hearing agents, especially when we're listening in.
Right.
We're hearing agents deal with clients who are wanting them to get off the phone quickly, and they're just trying to get pricing.
Yeah.
And of course, we know that giving pricing early in a call solves nothing. It just ends the call. So
correct. I want to give our agents a little tip, because if that is happening to them, they feel that anxiety, they feel that pressure, they feel their control slightly slipping away when the client's like, oh no, I'm just trying to figure out how much it costs. What is the price? Can you send me some quotes to my email? I literally heard that last week, like 8 times, which is crazy. And how does an agent respond to that? What are we able to do to sometimes dress the elephant in the room to regain that control and move back?
I mean, it does happen in face-to-face sits. I mean, it used to happen to me. Sometimes you get part of the way through. Well, I'm just looking, and what they're doing is they're trying to set some boundaries. Yeah. Sometimes they feel like, oh, I might be getting sold here. And you get that sense from them, and then they're kind of putting up this wall. Now, I just want to get some information on how this works and some pricing, and then we can think about it, and we'll get back to you. You know, they're kind of like putting up guardrails so that you don't penetrate their trust wall and actually get into their bank account. You know, I mean, that's what they're thinking in their mind. They're trying to prevent themselves from being sold. Yeah. They're trying to prevent you from selling them something without them wanting to buy it. And I think a lot of new agents get caught up in the fact that they think if they hurry up and get to the quotes, that the client might pick one, right? I even see it, Zach, with agents, and they're like speeding through underwriting. They're speeding through the stakes. They pretty much neglect the stakes. Yeah, a lot of them. I was on we did a boot camp 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and sitting in there, and the agent asked one stakes related question about why this was important and who it was for, and literally within 8 minutes, prices were being given over the phone. Pricing. And I'm just pulling my hair out. And I'm saying to the agent, literally whispering in their ear, if you give prices now, the call is going to end. You have to regain control and build value and find out why this is important to them. But they felt like they were too far in, and they went ahead and gave quotes anyway. And then when the call ended, we got a phone, they go, that went exactly as you said it was going to go. And I said, yeah.
Absolutely.
What did you think was going to be left after you give price? There's nothing left.
And I think you said something so important there, Roger, is understanding what the client's wanting, understanding what the client is feeling in that moment. They don't know us, so they feel uncomfortable getting vulnerable and sharing what's going on, or why in the world they need a quote. Why in the world do they need pricing? When you can understand that, your response is sometimes simple. Let me guess this, Mr. Roger. I'm guessing that you're just looking to protect your family and you want the most coverage as possible at the cheapest price. Am I right about that?
Yes.
Yeah. These are actually state-regulated final expense programs. So let me show you a little bit about how they work, okay?
Great.
Boom. And then I'm reeling it back in. I'm hearing them. I'm addressing what their concern is. I understand the sensitivity to the prices and the coverage, and I haven't asked him to tell me all his vulnerabilities and where he feels, inadequate protection in his home or with his spouse or family. I understand that, but I also know it's a process that we have to move through and to make it through.
Yeah, you got to understand as a new agent, you got to do the work up front. You got to put in the work to connect. You got to go through the 5 fundamentals, right, of the sales structure, the 5-part framework of the sales structure. Belief, trust, stakes. You got to go through those in order to unlock the vulnerability, basically in order to open up the transparency so you can have a real human-to-human conversation.
100%.
And then provide a value-based solution as opposed to a price-based solution. Because if it's just about pricing, they can get that anywhere. Are you ready to launch your insurance career? Excel Solutions is your go-to leader in life, accident, and health insurance pre-license training. Their cutting-edge e-learning platform is packed with rich content. Think interactive assessments, engaging videos, and customized learning paths, all tailored to your learning style. Being students ourselves, we've trusted Excel now for years to deliver top-notch training, offering high pass rates. Their streamlined prep review courses and the exam simulator are really your secret weapons to nailing the state exam the very first time. Now, you thought it couldn't get any better. Well, it just did. Life Insurance Academy listeners, you receive an epic 50% discount reducing the regular course fee from $199 to only $99. So, all you have to do is use partner code LIA at liapodcast.org/Excel. Now, Excel spells XCEL. So don't think about it any longer. Dive headfirst into your insurance career with Excel Solutions Premier Pre-Licensed Training with that exclusive 50% discount just for you. Get the code, get licensed, and excel in your insurance career.
We have to remember that behind every question, behind every concern, behind every quote or ask for a price, there's a reason.
Yeah.
And it's our job to figure out what that reason is, figure out what that pain point is. And if we understand that they're not going to buy it for just no reason at all. Mm-hmm. It's not an investment product for them. It's not something that's going to make them rich, right? This is something they're going to leave behind to take care of their loved ones.
So, Zach, I want to stop here and ask a question that a lot of agents might be asking themselves as they're going through this. So when you get that question early in the conversation, the first 2 or 3 minutes, well, I'm just looking for some pricing. Can you send me some quotes? Can you send me some pricing? How much does this cost? What's some responses that you would have used in the past? I know you just used one there and you dropped it really fast, and I don't know if they even caught it. So I'm revisiting it again.
Yeah,
because there's a few things that you can say there that reels them back in and kind of allows you to maintain control.
Yeah, the first thing is I understand, Mr. Roger. Most people feel the same way. I'm guessing that you're just looking to protect your family and your loved ones in case something happens to you. Am I right about that, Mr. Roger?
Yes.
And when doing that, you're probably looking for the most coverage you can to leave them at the absolute lowest price. Does that sound about accurate?
Yes.
Perfect. Now, in order to do that, these are actually not based upon your income. It's actually based upon your age and health. Mm-hmm. So we'll have to go through a couple things to see which one you're actually going to be able to qualify for. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the important part there is to maintain the pace and control and be clear and confident in that, but moving right in.
Yeah.
Right. In that situation, I may ask one of the two questions. I know in this situation, I have to establish more trust because they're trying to get to the point. They're trying to get to the quotes, right? So at that point, I'm going to ask one of two questions that is the easiest question for anybody in the world to answer. And that is either about their health or about their kids. That's the opening door. Those are opening avenues. In this situation, I'm not going to dive. My first question is not going to be about their kids, even though I want to get to that, because they're thinking, what does that have to do with me qualifying for this plan?
Correct.
But they may assume my health has everything to do with me qualifying for this plan. So if I drop in one or two health questions, not for the purpose of starting to go through the application at all, but to give the impression that we're moving forward at the pace they want, and during a couple of those health questions, I would ask something more open-ended, like how's your health been? What's been going on? Have you had any health issues recently? Has you had anything that made you any health scares? If it's more open-ended rather than, hey, Mr. Roger, do you have COPD? Then it can promote a conversation, right?
Yeah.
That conversation will then lead. My follow-up questions to that is learning about their life, what happened, how long that was, how did your family feel about it? Now, did you say you had kids as well? And I'm massaging back into their family and understanding them through gaining control about a general health question.
Yeah.
And that kind of allows me to strategically move back in.
Yeah. When I've gotten that question, oftentimes I will say that is a great question. I would love to give you some pricing on how these plans work for you. They're very individually based, and they're based on your age and your health. And so at this point, I don't even know what those prices will be. I don't set those. I don't determine those. Those are determined by the insurance carriers. And we've got to ask you some health questions and find a little bit about your health history, your profile, your age, and a little bit about what you're looking to accomplish. Once I have that information, then we can find out a company that you may be eligible to qualify for, and then see if we can get you approved. And then we can determine what pricing. And you set the pricing. You determine how much you want to put in the plan for your family. I'm assuming you want coverage to protect your family. Is that right? And you want the best value, the lowest price. Would that be correct?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, we're going to get to that. So thanks for being patient with me so I can help you get to that as quickly as we can.
Yeah.
So now I've addressed it. We've addressed it. We haven't ignored it. We haven't felt the pressure to hurry up and get to the quotes. And we're now able to maintain control, reel it back in, and go back into our sales script and walk them through the process.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Now, Roger, when we talk about quotes, okay, let's say it's really important for me to help the new agents to understand what might happen or what it communicates to give prices. And this isn't just at the beginning. I had in that Telesales BootCamp, we have the ability to listen in and to do some real coaching, not just talking about what ifs or you should have done that. This gives us the ability to be able to sit down and have coaching sessions and debriefing on a real situation that happened. In real time.
Yeah.
And I had one with a brand new agent, and it was such a good learning experience because in this situation, it started off looking for pricing. 8 to 10 minutes in, they're reading health questions and going through application stuff. And we boiled down to it, and I kid you not, it was $160 a month premium policy. And the lady was so happy she got this. She even said, I thank you so much, blah, blah, blah. There was pricing issues, and you may assume like, man, whoever this agent was handled the objections like a champ. Not necessarily, right? I wrote down a list of questions to ask following up. And my very first question was, why did this client need this coverage? And
the agent didn't know.
We couldn't answer the question. We could not answer the question. We don't know who it was for. We don't know how it would benefit them. We don't know how it would make them feel if this policy or plan was put into place. We don't know if they wanted burial or cremation. We don't know why this coverage amount. The lady just kind of said, I'm looking for something around $150 a month. And then it went focused into that. But this brings me to my next set of questions.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Did the client get the app? Did
Yes,
the
they
agent
did.
get the app?
Yes,
so they got
did.
the app. So here's my follow-up question to that. Did that sales process help or hurt that agent?
That sales process?
Yes.
It hurt that agent.
Why? They got the app, Zach.
Because it gives them a false sense of confidence. It reinforces to them that
they don't have to do
the work.
They were
rewarded for a situation that may or may not stick. Most likely, it would be difficult, right? And I'm not saying the client didn't have all of that and loves their family, needs it, and will keep it. They very much could have.
Yeah.
But for us to be true professionals, we have to understand, first and foremost, we have to understand their full picture and what we're looking for. And then we have to help them understand their need. We tie it all together with emotion and then supported by logic and then an affordability, and we're able to move through.
Yeah.
And that kind of brings us to when it comes to quotes, even if they tell you they want a price or the quote we're looking for, give me a couple things of why that's not a good idea. What are some things that can be left out or missing?
Well, I would say it's, for me, it's kind of like when you get to focus on price or quotes early, it devalues the entire process.
Yeah.
So it's a devaluation of what you're there to do. You can go to 1-800 get a life quote on, and that might even be a website actually. I don't know.
That sounded legit.
1-800 get a life quote or www.getalifequote.com. It's probably a website. Okay. If someone hasn't bought it, you should. But people go on there and they type it in and they can get their quote. Life insurance, as it stands, is a commodity. You can buy it from a lot of different places, and the price is predetermined by the carrier. The actual agency does not set the price or increase the price or put extra margin, or it's not like buying cars where there might be X markup on it today, but at the end of the month, there's only this markup on it because they're moving based on volume and they got to hit quotas. There's no manipulation. It's based on an underwriting assessment, their age and their health. That's how it's predetermined. So if we consider that, it is a commodity. So what separates you from www.getalifequote.com? What separates you?
Yeah, that's the next question, right? Because if you can get the same insurance companies through multiple agents, sometimes even online, they're going to be the same prices displayed. It's going to have the same health questions and the qualification.
Yeah.
Why are you unique? Why are you different? What do we do? You have difference makers on your shirt.
Yes.
What difference do we make?
Well, when you get into pricing early, quotes then only focus on price. It no longer is focusing on value or meeting the client's needs. Everybody has these levels of needs. There's an external need, there's an internal need, and then there's this philosophical need. It's three levels of needs a human has. An external need is, I don't have any coverage. I should have life insurance. My sister passed away. She didn't have coverage. They're paying for a funeral. It was hard on their kids. I should get some. That's a little bit different than the first one.
Yeah.
But it really doesn't strike into why it's important to them. People buy things that they want. They don't always buy things that they need, but they almost always buy what they want. You see the craziest decisions. You go in some of these homes. Zach, we were in homes when we were doing final expense.
Yep.
And you'd walk into some of these homes and you know they're making $1,000, $1,200 a month on their Social Security.
Yep.
And they're the primary income earner. And they've got a 70-inch flat screen TV on the wall. There's an Xbox down there. They got an iPhone. And there's a hole in the corner of their ceiling.
Yep.
And there's snow coming in the winter. And they got blankets and a heater.
We were in the same home.
Heater. And we were in the same home, right? So you think, how does this work? Like there's less value on fixing the hole in the roof than it is having the Xbox and the big screen TV and the iPhone. So people buy what they want. And the only way that you ever get to that level is by asking why things are important to people.
Yeah.
Why they're important. And the why they're important allows you to move from that external need to the internal need. And it allows you to focus on value and what's really important to the client and the client's family. That creates a high placement rate and it creates a high persistency rate. Persistency means your business stays on the books. If you're just moving through and you're getting to quotes and you're taking all the low-hanging fruit, your placement rate is going to be low and your persistency is going to be even lower.
Yeah.
You may feel like you're doing a rock star job, but unfortunately, like that agent that you just mentioned, they got the app, they were excited about it, but the actual process hurt them because what they said to themselves, I can circumvent doing the work to find out why this is really important and just get to the quotes, and some clients will say yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's then putting it on a pure numbers game and focusing only on the lowest price. Well, anybody can quote a lower price than what you're going to quote because there's going to be another insurance company that can get them qualified for a lower price. I guarantee it.
So I got a tough question for you. So who determines the value?
Who determines value? It's kind of like a two-edged sword, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The agent holds the client holds the value. It's the agent's responsibility to uncover the value. But the client holds the value. And you can't get to it unless you dig for it and uncover it. So when you say creates the value, was that your question?
Like who determines the value?
Who determines the value? The value then is determined on your positioning and what this benefit is going to solve, what your product is going to do for their need, that internal need.
So it sounds like it's more tailored. The more we understand about the client, because you're right, the client does have it inside, but it's almost buried and they don't really understand it, but it's there, right?
Yeah.
And the difference in all the different agents, I wish there was a way to, I don't know if it's an AI robot or something, probably, that we could have a dummy client and have all the situations programmed into it. And then we can run all of our different agents, we can run them through it to see how much they are able to uncover in the relationship. That would be amazing training, by the way.
You should create that. I would invest in that company with you.
Yeah.
Adam, you want in? You want in?
You and Adam?
Adam wants in.
But being able to do that is it's there, but they may not have words for it. They may not understand it. And like you said, they get confused on what they need and what they want. And they until they see the stakes and the full value, or the full, I don't want to use the word value, but what would happen with or without the coverage. And the only person that is able to help that is the agent, meaning the same situation could be 5 different agents and there's 5 different levels of value that the client sees based upon the agent being able to custom tailor
the agent doing their work. The agent actually doing a good job at understanding what they're trying to solve, who's at stake, what's at risk, how that makes them feel. Because if you can get that client talking about that, what's happening? Value is going up. And if value is going up, where does the price fall? Does the price now become less important? If value is going up, is price becoming less important? Yes.
It becomes less important, and it becomes they are willing to afford as much as they can afford to take care of as much value as possible.
Correct, 100%. So, that statement that we made early on, I'm assuming, Mr. Smith, that you want a benefit to protect your family when something happens, and you're looking to get the best benefit with the most coverage for the least amount. Is that correct? Yes. So you've qualified what that is, but what does that mean? What does that mean? Do they want to leave extra? Do they want to cover just a basic cremation? Do they want to cover a full funeral like their mom did, and had it all planned out for them when she passed away? Like, there's a lot of things that go behind that, but unless you ask those questions, you don't get there. And someone once said to me this, young in my sales career, it wasn't even insurance sales career, and they said, where there is no value, there is no price low enough. Mm-hmm. Where there is no value, there is no price low enough. And so if we don't do our job at uncovering their real need, we can't elevate the value, and therefore the price has to be the lowest. And so when you're rushing to get to the quotes, hopefully you get the lowest quote of the 3 people they talked to in the last 48 hours, and that you might get a chance.
That brings me to the next point. If they sign up based upon price, they will leave and sign somebody else based upon price.
That's right.
It will happen time and time again because there is no additional value. Yeah. So one thing we discussed, Roger, we talked about how we don't give a quote and no quotes given, right? Mm-hmm. We talked about where do we typically find this? Most of all, it's towards the beginning when we're trying to establish that relationship, of who we are, who we're with, while we're calling, and being able to flow into our presentation. But sometimes it does occur towards the middle or end of the presentation, and that's a result of really not following the sales system and uncovering that need and being able to go through with the belief, trust, stakes, options, and solutions. Mm-hmm. That can be prevented, but we talked about what it feels like, the mistakes that could happen when you are giving quotes. But I want to focus on this last section while we have a few more minutes left on what can we do to prevent quotes. Because yes, we gave a couple examples of what we could say if somebody's super pushy and we have to address the elephant in the room, we have to rile them back in. But ideally, we want to be so polished and so good at preventing it from ever coming up, preventing from anybody asking for quotes or email me this, or let me look it over, let me write these down, okay, perfect, and then getting off the phone while they have a page full of quotes they add to their other booklet full of quotes. Mm-hmm. How can we prevent some of this?
I think even just in our language, in the way we speak about pricing and premiums, quotes, whatever, it devalues or increases value, just in the way we speak about them. So how do we prevent giving a quote? It has to go back to the value-based discussion first. They have to understand its age and health and why this is important to them and what they're trying to accomplish. Then you can build a plan. So it's not a quote. It's not like saying a can of beans is 99 cents. It's like saying, well, you don't need a can of beans. What you're looking for is a whole pot of chili, and the chili has got a lot of different ingredients. Now, we can give that to you in a bag, and you boil it and open it, or we can create a custom experience where we come in and teach you how to cook chili, and we curate this whole thing and we help you pick out fresh ingredients, and it's a whole experience. So depending on what it is that they need and how you present that to them allows you then to custom design a plan to meet their internal need. And when we understand their needs first, Zach, it allows us to be speaking in their language of what's most important to them rather than a price. So for instance, I will use language like this, Mr. McElwain. So I'm thinking about protecting Jade and your kids and your family. You get to determine how much you want to put into that plan for them. And I'll even use this language when I'm doing the affordability close, okay? You've heard us, if you've watched our podcast, you've heard us talk about a couple different ways to present pricing. And this is on a affordability close. And thinking about how much you want to set aside for them is if we work with a number, and I know you said your Social Security is around $1,200 a month. So now I've got an idea because I found out early in my discovery that they're on a very limited budget. So I'm not going to be going ahead and quoting them $200 a month on their premium when they make $1,200 a month on their Social Security. Like, I hear some agents not even know how much they're making, and they're giving quotes for these high numbers. And you might get a client that accepts it, but they're going to cancel it. And that's not a good situation. So in thinking about this plan for your family, if we started around $150 a month, is that something that you'd be comfortable in setting aside for Jade and the kids? Mm-hmm. So now that's just an approach to getting to where I'm getting to a place before I giving prices. But the language around that, I want you to hear the language. The language was, what would be comfortable in your budget for your premiums? That's different than saying, how much would you like to set aside for Jade and the kids that you'd be comfortable with?
Yep.
The language is different. I'm getting the same answer,
yep.
But it's tied to a person. It's tied to people they care about. It's tied to what? Value. It's not tied to the lowest price. It's tied to value. And if I keep my focus on value,
yep.
I can avoid the quote syndrome, getting to the quotes.
Yeah, and I think that would be, I think it would be good to touch on another podcast on presenting value over price when it comes to pricing strategies.
Yeah.
I do something very similar, Roger, is even when we ask them to get the pen and the paper and they write down the 3 beginning numbers, I'll say, right there next to that 10,000, we're going to draw an arrow. Now, this $10,000 benefit, I always say, whatever it is, it's what's it's intended to be used for. So this is going to make sure it takes care of all your burial expenses, your burial expenses that you want, for who, which would be the beneficiary. So what's it intended to cover? Who's it intended to protect? And then every time we do say the price, it's only this amount. It's only. Yeah. So we're saying it's at such a discount. There's so much value. It's an obvious choice that it's this much. But I will never, and I hear this all the time, and if you guys are doing this, please make the adjustment. When you're talking about prices,
stop it.
When you're talking about prices, don't give a coverage amount, or saying here's 10K for 48, here's 15K for 68, like here's 20K. Like, it's not K, it's not thousands, it's a benefit to take care of this for this person, and it's only
this price.
Yeah. It makes a world of difference. But Roger, I think this podcast has been extremely valuable. This is for anybody that is struggling to maintain control, and we have plenty of podcasts on that as well. But if we're getting that objection all the time, well, just give me some prices and I'll call you back. We don't make any decisions on the first time today. Whatever objection related to price, we're waiting to quotes. Number one thing is we don't give quotes. Even if they say, hey, I don't have time right now, you give me the prices, we'll think about it, call you back. I'm not going to give them the prices. I'm going to leave them dangling with curiosity and that I have all the value and I have all the cards. I'm not going to give that away. Again, just to kind of summarize and wrap up, do not give quotes. Nobody ever buys quotes. The first thing we must do is understand their needs first. We have to understand them for the client before we're able to ask questions so that they understand them. We have to build that trust with them, make sure that relationship is there, both empathy and authority inside of that trust. We have to make sure our value is much more than price. We do that by raising the stakes. We do that by asking questions. We do that with follow-up questions. Why is it important to you? Why does that really matter? How does that make you feel? I can tell this is really something that you want to make sure to take care of, right? It's asking those questions, making sure it's about the value. We never bring up numbers.
What's at stake? What can they lose if they don't have this in place?
When it comes to the options and solution, we are tailoring. When we think about tailor, it's fitting every curve of their body.
Tailoring the investment.
We are tailoring the policy, the plan, the selection, the price, everything we're doing to the specific need that's going to fit them like a glove. That is going to be perfect for them. These aren't just building block policies, and this would take care of this and then that. No, we need to make them feel that there is no more ideal fit out there than this. And so the way we do that is to uncover their exact need to the detail so the solution fits their puzzle piece to the detail.
Correct.
Tailoring, and then having that emotional sensitivity of understanding that this is an emotional sell. We understand they're in a tight financial situation. We're here with them to help them. We also know how important this is to them. It's the emotions supported by logic. We're going to help them in every step of the way. Not only find the price that's affordable, I'm not going to let them pick a price that's too expensive. I'm not going to let them decide on a coverage it's less than what they need. I need to be able to build that value, but have that perfect balance so that this policy is not just here today so you can mark it down and put it on the leaderboard. It's so this policy is here to stay and there is no such thing as a chargeback. But most importantly, this family's beneficiary is going to receive that benefit whether it's 30 years down the road or 10 days down the road. We want to make sure that they're for them. So having that is crucial important.
Zach, as we wrap this up, at the very end, when you are giving pricing, not quotes, when you are tailoring and customizing this plan for them and their family, you are giving options. Yes, you are giving options, but you're not giving quotes. And those options need to be presented with full trust and authority.
Yep.
Right? So the authority has to be maintained even when you're giving them pricing at the end. I see a lot of agents asking permission on pricing rather than making a strong suggestion of what's best for the client. When people are in a tough situation or when they're in unfamiliar territory, they don't want to be manipulated, but they do want to be led by someone who is trusted. They want to be led and they want to be told by a professional what they should do. You go to your doctor, you don't want your doctor saying, well, you think we should try this? Why don't we try, do you think we should maybe try this drug? That's going to be the most uncertain. You're walking out of there going, I'm not taking those drugs. I don't even know. That doctor doesn't even know what he's talking about.
Yep.
You want to sit with somebody at the end, and when they tell you this is what's going to be best for you, based on everything we've discovered today and how you feel about your family and what you're trying to accomplish, here are a couple of good options for you. And there might be 3 of them. My recommendation is going to be this one.
Yep.
And for this reason, and it's going to do this for this person at only this price.
You know what else, Roger? If they want in-depth detail on how to do that, they can purchase our full course library where there's coverage, price, and value video in there that walks them through how to lay them out, how to present them, and how to not ask permission to be able to move them through with authority. And one key piece to that, I'm not going to give it all away, but even when the client doesn't answer, how you need to respond to that. What's the next step? How long do you wait? What's the next question you ask to get them to move and actually close the policy?
Cool, man. Cool. I like the little ad there at the end.
Yeah, well,
Cool.
it took me right back to it because I remember doing that exact trading.
We do so much of this stuff, guys. I hope you found value in this one today. Zach, thanks for leading this discussion. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. It's been really fun. And guys, we will catch you on the next Life Insurance Academy podcast. If you haven't done already, I need you to like, subscribe, and share. It's what we do. It allows our content to be boosted to help more agents just like you. And if you already subscribed, then just go ahead and do that share. Send it to somebody you know in the industry or somebody you just met that you think this podcast could help. And if you're with a buddy or in a call center or at your own boot camp and you hear the word quotes, send them this exact episode. Maybe we can help them out.
How many people would buy a shirt that said no quotes given? Would you buy that shirt?
I would, for sure.
Adam, we need to get the shirt. We need to get the shirt. Get some swag. No quotes given.
Absolutely. We'll catch you guys in the next one.